What's up, everybody? Well, I got another Asus G15 Advantage gameplay video for you guys today. And today, we're gonna have a look at Hogwarts Legacy, which I've been very excited to test out. I already did the Steam Deck, so now it's the Asus G15 Advantage's turn. So, I basically, at the end of the Steam Deck video, just got into Hogwarts. I know at the beginning of the Steam Deck thing, I said I was gonna start off there, but then I was just like, nah, let's just start at the beginning. It looks like the FPS is already tanking like crazy out here. So if it can't even do out here, it ain't gonna be good at any place else in the game is what I thought. So we'll just axe doing the whole thing at Hogwarts, and we'll just move around and walk around there for however long it takes to get through this video. And then in another video, we will go and get outside Hogwarts into the town and into the forests to see how it handles those, because I know it's gonna be a little easier at Hogwarts than it is anywhere else in the game. So with that out of the way, now let's go get this guy hooked up to the capture computer, and then we can go ahead, look at the settings, and get into the game. And I think I'll do this one the same way as the Steam Deck. I'll just start off in Ultra, see how it handles it, and go from there, except for turning ray tracing on. We always wait to do ray tracing and FSR till the end of the video, so you'll have to wait until the end for those ones. So let's go get it hooked up and get into the game, shall we?
So now we're going to see how the Asus G15 Advantage handles it, but first we gotta go look at the settings real quick. So here's all the settings we start with. We're gonna start off with native resolution, uncapped and all that, no VSync. Keeping stock field of view. We turn most everything off besides chromatic abrasion. And we're just going to start off on Ultra, just to see how it handles it. And we'll go through all the settings. It probably could handle it no problem on Ultra. For the most part, it might dip here and there by a teensy bit, but I think it could probably handle Ultra no problem. But it's more fun to go through all the settings, at least in my opinion. And we'll go and do ray tracing too, even though it's going to suck later on. So, let's go hop into the game. Alright, starting off here.
Using the guide will also
on Ultra.
you to be alert to
And we're at
your
least in the hundreds, so not bad at all. Much better than other games, which I won't mention, that would drop down into the 30s already.
Practice your magic and educate yourself about wizarding lore.
Whoa, that's a pretty
Do keep
cool
up.
looking thing. Isn't that a Kirby?
Why
Remember those
don't
from
you
Final
cast
Fantasy.
Revelio on that statue and see what details
What do they
the
want me to
guide
do?
can provide.
Ah, I get a little scroll if I do that? Alright, cool. Ah, it's Kelpie. That's close. So that's cool. It teaches you how to do that. Continue. So now we can open the field guide. Alright, that's just telling me about stuff up there. Okay. Let's go to the challenges like it said it wanted us to. This is definitely a neat way to do things. So now we're on the field guide, and there we go. Collect field guide pages in Hogwarts. They must be claimed from there. Alright, I can do all that.
Clever, isn't it?
So
Keep
now
your
let's
eyes
follow
open
this
for
lady.
more opportunities like that, inside and outside of the castle.
Anyway, though, let us move on. Whoa, that's pretty cool. It's like a snake. Well, now, let's get a little high gameplay in. But first, of course, the settings. So, let's scroll through the high settings real quick. And then we will get back into the game. Alright, to the game we go.
It's
Alright,
almost
now we're on
anywhere in
high,
the
so
castle,
let's go get a little high
quickly from
gameplay in
Central
too.
Hall.
Still getting way more than acceptable
Always something
FPS.
happening here. It's the heart
Now this
of
game
the
does have
hive,
a
our
little
King's
stutter
Cross
here and
station,
again,
so
but
to speak.
for the most part, it's pretty smooth. I'm pretty happy.
That
See what I
should be
mean right
all
there?
For now.
You
You'll
go
be
into
expected
like a
to
new
attend
area,
both
sometimes it does that. You
charms
go in and
defense
out of like
against the
talking to
dark
somebody,
arts
it does
classes
that a little
today.
bit.
And
Hopefully
I'd
they
like
can
to
come
be
up with
sure
some
you get to
updates to either
Hogsmeade
the game
as soon
or
as
we get a
possible
driver
to replace
update and
the
then that kind of
supplies you
shit will
lost on
stop
the way
happening.
here.
But I'm still on drivers from December. I believe December 8th
You
to be
mentioned
exact.
Hogsmeade, Professor.
Hogsmeade is the
Those are the newest
only
ones.
all-wizarding village in Britain.
So
and is
hopefully
home
AMD will
to
come
an
out with some new
array of
drivers for
shops
like
and
this
pubs.
and
You should
Dead
be able to
Space.
find all of the school supplies you require in Hogsmeade.
But I might just be
You will
SOL.
also, I imagine, enjoy many
this might
a
just be as good as it
butterbeer
gets
there
for
with
now.
friends in due course.
Or ever. The next ones they drop might not have anything to do with this game.
Thank you, Professor Weasley.
A lot to
I can hope.
absorb on your first day, and you have much to learn. Happily, your professors have agreed to create additional assignments for you outside of class. You'll be up to speed in no time. Judging by your adept use of Revelio earlier, I'd say Professor Fig succeeded in at least showing you the basics.
He did, Professor.
Whatever.
He's
Why
been
don't we now
terribly
go on and
vague
move to
as
the
to the
next
event.
set? Well, now, time for medium, so let's scroll on down. And of course, ray tracing will be at the end, before my settings. So, to the game we go. So, this is now medium, and we are starting to definitely see some definite CPU bottlenecking, as the GPU can't even get to 100% anymore, and we haven't even started FSR yet. FSR is going to make that even worse. But see, we got to a new area and it like stuttered like crazy. I bet if we ran around there for a second, it would be okay. But that's just what this game does. And a lot of games do that. Now, I saw some like possible fixes for some of it, but I didn't want to do any of those. I want to just do the game like it was supposed to be played, just how everybody else would have it, instead of people being like, well, what the hell, why is yours smooth and this, that, and the other thing? Or even worse, you do all those settings and it still doesn't do a damn thing, and it's still like a stuttery mess. That honestly ticks me off more, because it's like, well, I just saw somebody else do it, and it was flawless, so what the fuck? Either they're like bullshitting me, or there's just something wrong with my shit.
Revelio.
Alright, can't probably do anything with these guys yet. That's probably a later in the game activity, these weird eyeball-looking motherfuckers. Yeah, I blasted him with a bunch of magic, and he didn't seem to give a shit.
How nice to see you, my young friend.
That must be the fast travel thing for that place. Anyway, now, moving on. Okay, now we're going to do low. So let's look through the settings real quick. And then after this, we can try out some ray tracing and then move on to FSR. So there we go. As you can see, we have everything on low and no ray tracing yet. So let's go and see how it does. Well, now we are on low. So let's run around, and this is probably going to be pretty stuttery. Most of the time when I put games on low on this thing, unless it's like an esports game, it does not run the best. But hey, maybe this game will prove me wrong and just be like smoothest on low. How funny would that be? Well, we got a teeny little stutter there, but nothing compared to some of the other stutters we've gotten while running around. So let's just keep running around, see what we get. We're only getting about 80% to 85% utilization on our GPU anymore on these particular settings. But we're getting more than acceptable FPS, so I don't mind. I just hate when that happens and it's like, all right, you're getting like 20 FPS. And it's like, well, use more of my shit. What are you doing? Alright, though, time to move on. Well, alright, so now for ray tracing, I figured we would put everything on high. And then just turn everything on. We're not going to sit here and make it take 10 hours to do it and try each with one on at a time. We're just going to go through all those, go from ultra down to low. So let's go into the game and see how this does. All right, let's go and run around with ray tracing on. And as you can see, we are not getting near 60 FPS anymore. We're not near, but we're not getting 60 FPS anymore.
Now?
We're more in the 40s. But that's kind of be expected. This thing's never been good at ray tracing. I wouldn't expect it to randomly start now. However, I'm still surprised it's doing better than usual. Normally it's a 22 to 30, barely 30 FPS experience, and this is on ultra with the game on high, so it's not like we nerfed the settings down to low or anything just to turn ray tracing on, which would be absolutely asinine. I'd never want to make the rest of the game look like crap just to try to get ray tracing. Ray tracing is just something you turn on if you can, in my opinion. If you can do it without fucking your frames really hard, then go ahead. But if you're going to get subpar FPS and stutters and all this other shit, why turn it on? Even on a 4090, there's just no point. So I probably won't be running ray tracing on my 4090 either. We'll see. Maybe it'll surprise me and get like 200 FPS with ray tracing on. I doubt it. Let's now move on though. Now we are going to turn the ray tracing down to high, but I just want to show you the rest of the settings are exactly as they were on high. So now everything is on high. So now I'll go apply these settings real quick, and then we will get into the game. Here is ray tracing on high, and that definitely helped us out in the FPS department. We're almost getting a constant 60 just with it on high.
Nice to see you, my
Keep in
young
mind though,
friend.
we are just in the castle. So if we were outside in the city or whatever, we'd probably be dropping down to the 30s and 40s again. I could be wrong, but only time will tell on that one. I'll have to get there into the next videos I do. I just wanted to start off in the castle for the most part, and at the beginning of the game on the Steam Deck. That's just what I kind of like doing on the Steam Deck, starting at the very beginning and moving on.
Revelio.
Oh, cool, I got another one of these. Painting of Elias. Alright. And you know what? Since everything's on high, and I haven't hit this bowl in a little while, why don't we go ahead and hit the bowl?
Hogwarts is a second home to me. Feeling a bit nostalgic about leaving one day.
Alright, moving on. Well, now it's medium ray tracing's turn. But we have to go through all the settings here just to show you guys we're not doing no funny business and trying to make it look better than it really is by turning other settings down. Nope, we're not going to do none of that kind of crap on this channel. So, now we've gotten to the bottom, let's go and get into the game. Well, now it's medium ray tracing's turn, so let's run around again, and to be perfectly honest, it doesn't really seem to be getting us too much more FPS than high ray tracing did, but still, let's just run around a little bit. Although I say that, but we've pretty much been above 60 almost the whole time. I say that in a second I do. We drop down to 56, 57, but that's not so bad. I can deal with that. The kind of thing I tell myself is, if I didn't have an FPS counter up, would I even notice that? Probably not. I might notice like a drop
I've
frame, but I
always
wouldn't be able to
said
say,
that
oh,
travel
that dropped to
broadens the
exactly
mind.
56.1 FPS. Can't play. Unacceptable. Error. Error. No, none of that.
Revelio.
That's what I saw. Yeah, I did. Cool. We're collecting more information. 1 out of 8. This little guide thing's badass. Anyway, though, let's move on now. Alright. And now, we have made it to the low ray tracing. So everything else, though, is on high and everything. So, as you can see right there, low. So that means we can go get into the game now. So I'll go apply those settings, go restart the game, let it do the shaders. That's what I've been doing every time on the Windows version anyway. And get back to the game. Alright, now let's go and give low ray tracing a chance here. And so far from what I'm seeing of the FPS, it seems to be more of the same. So if you did want to have ray tracing on, you could deal with the FPS drops.
Wish I'd brought.
Seems like high is your man. Ultra, that just was stupid.
Off on another
That dropped us all the way down
adventure,
to the
are we?
40s. So we definitely can't handle that. But truth be told, I'm probably not going to run with no ray tracing on any of my systems. I mean, maybe I'll give it a try on my settings on the secondary computer, but I don't know. The primary computer with 4K is probably just too demanding, even for a 4090. I feel like it'll drop under 60 with ray tracing, at least without DLSS. And I don't really want to have to use DLSS just for ray tracing. It's one thing if I'm turning it on just to make the game playable as it is.
Sharp.
Because then it's like, okay, well, if I'm turning DLSS anyway, I might as well turn on ray tracing and see what's what. Anyway, moving on. All right. Now we're going to start FSR 2, and we're going to start off with FSR 2 Quality. So let's just show you the rest of the settings I've decided to go with. I decided, why not just test out Ultra? I know it's probably a little bit too high of a setting for this laptop in this game, but figured, fuck it. Let's just try it and see how it handles. No ray tracing, though. Okay. Let's get some FSR Quality gameplay in now. So we shall just run around. This is a very cool place, though. We got some random floating guy who can juggle. I mean, what more do you need? Oh, shit, he dropped it all. He doesn't seem to care, though. He's crackling with laughter.
Revelio.
What are you up to now?
Our dorms atrocious.
Okay, moving on. All right, now for some FSR2 Balanced, as you can see right here. So I'll scroll through all the settings again, just so you can show there's no shenanigans. Now off to here, on Ultra still. No ray tracing, though. That wasn't going well, and I don't think any amount of FSR is going to really fix it, especially when we get out into the real world, like the town and the forest. So now, let's move on. Well, now FSR Balanced gameplay in. Honestly, not too much different really looking from the other one. Quality seems to be about the same FPS, same GPU utilization. But it's not like it dropped the resolution that much more, so makes sense that it shouldn't be that much different. It's the first time turning it on that drops it a pretty significant amount from whatever your native is.
Revelio.
Like, I think right now we're somewhere under freaking 720p already. I think it was like 668 or something like that. It said in the menu. This game at least tells you what the FSR resolution in the rendering is. I like when games do that. What's up with you? Oh, whoa. You do some wacky ass shit, dude. All right, we're basically back to our stopping point, so let's move on now. All right, now for AMD FSR2 Performance. So let's scroll through our settings real fast here. Everything is exactly the same, but I like showing it, and it also makes it easier for me to do chapters when I do my put this stuff up on YouTube. All right, moving on. Now for some FSR2 Performance. So again, let's just run around, and yet again, other than it looking worse, I really don't see a big FPS jump. So if you do want to use FSR, I would just stick with quality or nothing, because all of them seem to be about the same. So we'll see what I decide to go with once we get to my settings. Which we won't get any screen recorded capturing for that, because I'm probably just going to use something we've already done, and what's the point in doing the same thing twice? I'll just skip right to camera if that's the case, unless I'm going to do a super ultra crazy, whatchamacallit, like custom settings. Then we will do that. But I don't see the need for that, not when we're getting this many FPS. And we're not even getting like super bad frame drops, really. Every once in a blue moon, but not very often. I like it. Now, though, let's move on to FSR Ultra Performance. Well, here we go with the last FSR. It's AMD FSR2 Ultra Performance. So let's just look through these settings one more time here as far as the FSR is concerned anyway. I'll show you guys the settings again once we get to camera, just as a refresher of what I'm going with. There we go, everything's still on Ultra and all that stuff, still no ray tracing, so back to the game. All right, now we're gonna do FSR Ultra Performance here.
Handy resource indeed, your field guide.
And yeah, now we're getting way less utilization, and actually I think we're getting even less frame rate than we were before, and it looks even worse. Oh, it was 420 real quick, so I had to hit the bowl real quick, so we'll walk around a little bit more to make up for me just sitting here hitting the bowl. All right, back on track. Let's walk around again. Instead of stopping at like 1 minute 10 or whatever, we'll go up to like 1:20 or 1:30 or something like that. Oh, there's one of those things. That guy must have been here juggling, but he already disappeared.
I'd swear we
Revelio.
Alright, now that thing just looked like a suspicious wall, so I want to see what the fuck was all about. But obviously nothing.
Even if I knew how to get into the other common.
What are you up to now?
Alright. And now to my settings.
Alright guys, let's just go over these settings real quick. For my settings anyway. Well, for one, whoops. We'll turn that up to high. It can handle it. We're not going to use any upscaling because we don't really need it at 1080p. Because we're not using ray tracing. These guys are still all off, except for chromatic abrasion. And then we're just going to run it out on Ultra, just with no ray tracing. And since we already did that once, I figured we didn't need another camera gameplay of the thing we already did. No ray tracing though. Didn't really this thing never has good time with ray tracing. It like no matter what, it would probably always drop under 60 for us, even at 1080p. So I figured nope. And the Steam Deck didn't even let you try it at all, but I figured that would have been a disaster as well. Anyway, now, why don't we get back into the game and run around for a little bit, maybe attend those classes finally. Because the quicker I do all that, the quicker I can get to town, too, for that particular video. I'll still try to stick around here to keep it fair to all the other systems and at 1440 and everything, but later on, we're still going to want to redo the video once we get into town, like I said. But back to the game now. Alright, now we're in the game here. Let's just run around for at least a little bit before we go jump into...
adventure, are we?
Before we go into the room and actually do anything. Hell, I might just run around and not even go in there yet, because it's probably just going to be a bunch of talking. And I don't want you guys to just sit here while I go to fucking class. That's probably going to be even more boring than watching me run around here.
Just beware the open flame.
Revelio.
Alright, I must need other stuff to play his little game. But yeah, as you can see, at least at Hogwarts, we're getting more than acceptable FPS. We drop down into the 70s every once in a blue moon, but I haven't really found anywhere where we drop under 60 yet. But it's not like I've been everywhere in the entirety of this place yet either, so there might be a spot here and there that still might. Well, I like how this game will at least let me explore and not force me to do what it wants me to do, like Forspoken. That one was like, oh, you want to go explore? Nope. Get back to where you are. You went too far. You went too far. Oh, can I pet the cat?
Protego.
Hell yeah. See, you can pet the cat in this game, too. You couldn't even pet the damn cat in Forspoken. Like, what the fuck is that? You've got a cat, and then you see other cats in another world, and you can't pet them? That's just a travesty. You should always be able to pet the cats. Alright, see, here we go. Here's a spot where it drops under 60 a little bit. So what is it? What makes it drop?
Handy resource indeed, your field guide.
Is it just because I'm spinning around in circles? No, now I can't get it to do it again. But see, like I said, there might be spots where we drop like that for a split second or two, but it's not so bad. But that makes me think, man, once we get to town, I'm probably going to have to redo my settings and lower some shit, I'm willing to bet. I just hope I don't have to use FSR. FSR usually likes stuff to look kind of crappy when you're on lower resolutions like the Steam Deck and this. 1440p, once you get to there, it's not as bad anymore. Nope, I'm not going in there yet. Not yet. Not yet.
Revelio.
Well, now I'm glad I started running all over the place. Because if I just stayed in the same area I stayed in, we wouldn't have known it does drop under 60 here and there. But at least at 1080p anywhere, we seem like we're just ever so slightly bottlenecked at certain places. Like, see right there, 93. Just a slight bottleneck. Nothing to go, oh my god, it's unplayable. But shit like that might be why we dropped down to 58, 52 or shit like we did. Where we were going upstairs and we just kind of did one of these and it just dropped down like 50. I think it was like 56? Might have been 52. One of the two. So now I'm very excited to get out into town. See how it plays there. If we can stay over 60 FPS while it's still looking good, not having to go down to resort to using FSR or anything, I'll still be a happy guy.
What are you up to now?
Everything and more. Alright though, I think that's plenty of camera gameplay now. So, why don't we go wrap this video on up? Alright guys, that is a wrap for Hogwarts Legacy on the Asus G15 Advantage, at least at 1080p. We're still going to do 1440p next. But it seemed to do a pretty good job even on Ultra. There was a couple spots where we spun the camera around real quick and stuff, and it did drop down under 60 a teensy bit, but for the most part, we were in the high 80s and 90s. So, now of course, this might change once we get to the town or the forest. We might have to lower the hell out of those settings once we get there. But for now, I would say it's very playable. But wait to buy the game until I get to the other two things. I'm literally going to basically work throughout the day to get these done, and then tomorrow I'm going to get to the town, get those done, and then the next day I will get the forest done. I'm just going to work super hard on this so you guys don't have to wait too long to make your purchasing decisions. So that's about all we got for this video though. Like I said, handled it pretty well. No ray tracing though. The ray tracing is the part where I made it stuttery and drop under 60, and I don't think even FSR would have saved it, so I didn't even bother with that. This laptop just doesn't generally like ray tracing. Even the new ones don't really like it that much, but they fare better than these guys, which would be expected. That'd be pretty lame. You're like, hey, I got a new GPU. Hey, and guess what? The ray tracing's worse than last gen. You know, that wouldn't be very good. But anyway, that's all I got for you guys for this particular video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you. And until the next video, peace out, guys.